Hello and welcome back. So we are here. You've probably watched many of the other videos so far, and many of the other interviews. You met many of the attendees. There is someone you haven't met yet, someone who lights up every room that he walks into. He has got the biggest heart and he is the most unconditionally loved soul I think I've ever crossed paths with. So I'm going to introduce you to the Mr. Amazing Tony Courtney Brown. Tony, please tell everyone a little bit more about you.
Hello, Vicki, and thank you for having me on. I have a holistic clinic, and it's my mission to help people get better, regain and maintain their health as far as possible, naturally and holistically, and also as far as possible to avoid invasive surgeries that they might not need. I do this by using hyperbaric oxygen, red light therapy, and also bioresonance frequency healing, something that many of your people here will know about.
Brilliant. So Tony's got a clinic down in Wimbledon, and he has been running this holistic clinic for quite a few years now. Is that right?
4 years, yeah.
And in this clinic, he's doing something rather remarkable, something that isn't readily available in the NHS, but we believe absolutely should be. Because your health is the most important thing that you can have as a human being on this planet. It's like at any moment, you are always going to be 6 minutes away from death. And there is nothing you can do about that statistic. Because it takes 6 minutes for you to stop breathing to die. That's it. So when we think about that, and then we think about the roles that we have in this world, whether being a spiritual entrepreneur is never about just earning a money. And it's never been about that for many entrepreneurs. It's about the movement, it's about the impact, it's about the people, and that's really at the core of it. And Tony, you have been doing this for a long time through your own journey and your own experiences. And I know you've got your own reasons as to why you found holistic therapy quite similar to myself, where, I don't know, maybe you could share a little bit about that.
Sure. I think it started probably soon after I was born, because I came along at the wrong time and my parents couldn't look after me. And I ended up being fostered by some Dutch people for the first 6 years of my life. And this was during a time when it was quite difficult for white people to foster babies of color because they would get abused and sometimes beaten up. So I'm so grateful to these Dutch people who managed to keep me and put up with all that. Later in life, I was put on antidepressants at the age of 15 and kept on them for 45 years. Didn't do me any good whatsoever. And so after I left school, I did a degree in psychology to try and find out why and how all this came about. Then I sort of took some ups and downs in life, as we all do. And it got to a point where it all got too much for various reasons. I ended up trying to take my life and then ended up in a mental hospital sectioned under the Mental Health Act. They doped me up with so many drugs, but then they thought that wasn't enough. So they added electroconvulsive therapy, about 19 sessions. That didn't work either. Having come out of that, I realized that none of these things actually did any good for people's mental health. I then experienced some physical ailments, back pain as well, slip disc, arthritis, sciatica, then some rather personal prostate issues too. And I ended up taking 24 pills a day. A friend of mine said, "You need to stop taking this stuff. It's going to kill you." And I said, "I can't. The doctors told me I have to take these for the rest of my life." And he said, "That's not going to be very long if you carry on with these." And he sent me to see somebody who was a kinesiologist. Again, some of our members here might be familiar with that. And he said, "Bring all your pills." And he did this muscle testing, with the arm. And he said, your body doesn't want any of this stuff. And so I stopped, just like that. And please don't anybody do that in the way I did. After 2 months of shaking and sweating, I said, I can't carry on like this. And he said, go and get some colonic irrigation to speed up the exit of these drugs. The lady who performed that function said, have you ever tried bioresonance? I said, never heard of it. What's that? She gave me the card of a practitioner, and my goodness, I was so impressed. He fixed everything. He managed to sort out the prostate issue. So after 2 biopsies, I was cleared. He sorted out my back issue. So I was able to throw away the pills. I also lost 2 stone, which I was carrying around for whatever reason. I didn't need it. As a result of that, I said to him, just teach me everything you know. And it started from there.
Amazing. I can't even put into words what you've experienced through that journey. And the only way that I can kind of resonate with your experiences is because I went through a similar story, not to the extremes, but a similar case of the doctor had basically said, you're going to be in a wheelchair by the time you're 40. You just need to suck it up, get on with your life, take all these pills and go and get on with it. At the time, I was 29 years old. I had 3 children, and the thought of, I was 30. I was 30 when this happened. And I looked at the doctor and I thought about my kids and I said, I swore, but I won't swear now. No, I will actually. Fuck it, it's me. I said, fuck this shit. I will find a different way. And that was when my journey began. And that's when I evolved. And that's when I started changing my life. So within a few years, I was completely symptom free. Now this year alone, I've run a half marathon, jumped out of a plane, I'm getting in the boxing ring. I'm doing all the things that I never imagined that I would be able to do because I chose a different path. And I suppose this is one of the things that makes me so grateful for the spiritual pathways that we have available to us. And there are loads of modalities that I haven't tried, but the ones that I have changed my life and given my kids a mum that they deserved, not the mum that they were told they would have. They weren't told, but you get what I mean. So when it comes to this spiritual evolution, a lot of people get into it from their own personal journeys, and then that becomes a purpose to help other people. But there's one thing going on a spiritual journey and having a transformation in your own personal life to then having a spiritual business. So Tony, what was the difference for you going from where you were to having a spiritual business and being a spiritual entrepreneur? What was that like for you?
I think it was, if I'm honest, I think it was kicked off by anger. It was anger at being told I'd have to have my back sliced open and my vertebrae fused, all kinds of stuff that I really didn't need. And now I see people who actually had that operation done who were just told, it's only a couple of months of discomfort, you'll be fine afterwards. 10 years on, they've lost mobility and they're still in extreme pain. So I think anger at why these things happen was what spurred me on. And then also it was intuition. I don't know, some people call it downloading, just ideas coming. Not from me, because I'm not that bright. They came from somewhere else. And for instance, the oxygen chamber, I was in the shower one day during COVID. And in the shower, you sort of switch off your mind and you're not concentrating on anything in particular. And I just thought, COVID, what's that? Can't breathe. People need oxygen. Got out of the shower, decided to go and get an oxygen chamber. As you do.
As you do, just a casual day there. We're just going to go buy an oxygen chamber. Oh, Tony. So where did that evolve? Where did that lead?
Well, we went down to the place that made them and sold them. And I saw this thing there that looked like a sunbed. I said, what's that? And he said, it's a red light therapy bread. So I thought, okay, what does that do? Let's have a try of that. Okay, have one of those as well. Now, one of the most heartwarming things I ever saw was when I was in this place, they showed me a big glass hard shell chamber. And on the wall opposite, there's a little small one. I said, what's that? How can anybody fit in that? And he said, the person who owned the place had a dog. And the dog goes into the little chamber on the wall, and he lies in the big chamber, and he and the dog look at each other while they're both in the chambers getting oxygen.
Now that is pretty impressive.
Cutest thing you could ever imagine. And then I think what happened subsequently was, I mean, my word for this year is collaboration.
Mm.
And I think that the more of us that work together, sharing our knowledge and our skills, is how we're going to make eventually a healthier planet. And I came across this lovely lady, Marriott Ram, who some of you know as well, who does this wonderful thing called astromedicine. She's trained in functional medicine and astrology. And she read my chart and she looked at it and she was so flipping accurate. My chin was bouncing off the floor. How do you know that? And I think the more people that I've met in this area of work is the more I've seen how people have a vision to do more than what they are, more than what their business is. They want to make an impact, a difference in the world. And I think that this awards ceremony is really going to showcase people who are in that space, who have made these contributions and are continuing to do so. And that really excites me.
Thank you, Tony. I'm quite excited about the whole thing myself, to be fair. It's all becoming very real for me, as it started off as an idea. And talking of awards, you're going to be completing the judging very soon and selecting some winners. So Tony has very kindly stepped forward as one of our judges, being a spiritual entrepreneur in the holistic space. But he's actually done this in practically in person as well, which is even more, I want to say word magical, because a lot of spiritual entrepreneurs do it from behind closed doors. They don't get on the high street, and you have done it. You've got out on the high street and you've said, nope, I am opening the doors here. This is what we're doing. This is a holistic clinic, and this is where you're going to get the support that you wouldn't traditionally get. So Tony, just tell me a little bit more about what inspired you when you first saw what I was doing to become a part of this movement.
Firstly, it's different and it aligns so closely with what I believe needs to happen. And as you say, there are so many people who are doing fantastic work who don't showcase it, and people are not aware of it. There are people doing a whole range of holistic things, from homeopathy to even stuff I can barely pronounce. But all that they're doing is contributing to making the world a better place. And in particular, using the gifts and knowledge that we as humans have had for years and years and years, which has been stripped out of us by the education system, stripped out of us by the pharmaceutical system. And we are rediscovering that Mother Earth and Mother Nature know best. And everything goes back to that. And when I saw what you were doing and looking around at what some of the people who are nominated are doing, I thought, my goodness, these people are sharing gifts that they've had. They're rediscovering gifts that possibly many of us have, but we've had it all knocked out of us and told that's not logical. If you can't see it, it doesn't exist. If you can't touch it, it's not there. And when I started doing bioresonance and people going, oh, you're just woo-woo, you're bonkers, this doesn't work. And I think increasingly people realize that there is more than what we can see with the naked eye. I have this T-shirt which has got Einstein, picture of Einstein on it.
Yeah.
And underneath it says, the future of medicine is the medicine of frequency. Now, Einstein was a pretty bright guy. I think he knew what he was up to. And again, that aligns with another guy, Nikola Tesla, very bright guy, who also promoted the same idea, frequencies and Mother Earth, bringing the two together, natural healing.
Absolutely. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that, Tony. I mean, we're truly deeply honoured to have you with us on this journey as we launch the UK's first Spiritual Entrepreneur Awards. But not only that, we're getting doubly honoured because you are stepping onto the stage as a keynote speaker. And it's on a topic that has, through more recent months, shall we say, has become quite dynamic and very much needed, actually. So, Tony, share a little bit more about your talk title and why people really need to hear what you've got to say.
Right. Firstly, could you remind me what the title is?
I can indeed. Spiritual War and Business.
Yes. Well, I think a lot of people here will understand that we are in a spiritual war at the moment. And it's heating up. And we're becoming more polarized, and people are being set against each other, and people are fighting each other, sometimes not even knowing why. And it seems to be a theme of what's going on in the world. And we just need to open our eyes and understand, A, that we're being manipulated to do this, and secondly, that it doesn't need to happen. So I'll be talking about how I see the way that things are set up, how politics works, how that influences everybody. I'll be talking a bit about the financial system, which is pretty similar to the health system. And we're made to see things in a certain way when they are not that way. It's all smoke and mirrors.
And I love that you're going to be, demystifying this and taking away the smoke and just allowing us to see the mirrors. And I think that is going to be one of the most potent talks of the day. So for those of you that are considering joining us at the awards on the 6th Symposium and Awards on the 16th of October in 2025, if nothing else that we've shared with you so far hasn't got you to buy your ticket yet, let today's chat with Tony be that reason. Tony isn't just speaking from a textbook. He's speaking from lived experience. He's speaking from doing the do. And he's speaking from not only changing his own life, but thousands of others. So, Tony, if there was one message you could give to someone as to why they need to come and be in the room with us, what message would that be?
You'll see and hear things that you haven't seen or heard before. And you'll be amongst so many like-minded people. The energy of the place will be amazing. Don't miss it.
Absolutely. I cannot agree anymore. The conversations that are going to take place in that room are going to be conversations that you don't hear in other spaces. And that is something I'm exceptionally excited about, because I don't know about you, but I'm getting a bit bored of the same old, same old. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up there. Tony, thank you so much for sharing your time with us today. Please go and follow Tony Courtney Brown at Total Body Health Wimbledon. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Oh, good, I got it right. All right, go give Tony a follow. Go and check out his clinic in Wimbledon. And more importantly, get your tickets to the Symposium and Awards on the 16th of October. Ticket sales will sell out on the 25th of September. 24th of September. Okay, over and out. We'll see you soon.